Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo. Tonight, an update on a case that left a family heartbroken after losing a son and a grandfather in a deadly crash.
Glenn Reagan is accused of hitting a car while trying to pass a box truck in Winstead back in 2023. William O'Leary and his grandson Marcus Rogers were killed in that crash. They were on their way to hockey practice when it happened.
Fox 61's Jamel Johnson is in Torrington with the update.
It's been 2 years since Marcus Rogers and William O'Leary were in a car crash that cost them their lives. And after 2 years, the family is still grieving like it happened yesterday. Glenn Reagan appeared in court again 2 years after he allegedly passed a box truck before crashing into a teenager and his grandfather, killing them.
He's seeking continued state of April 22nd.
His defense attorney, Darnell Crossland, had one goal: to continue the case at a later date in hopes of a lesser sentence.
My client's a very young man. People who died, the family has always, from day one, gave their condolences to that. And we're just hoping that we can work this out for less than a manslaughter charge, because we don't believe the charge supports what happened here.
In Crossland's preliminary statement, he says he hopes the case can be resolved to, at best, a misconduct with a motor vehicle charge.
No matter how well-intended you are, accidents do happen. So we're looking to see what happened. We're hoping to avoid it, but we're definitely not looking to put a young kid in jail for 40 years based on an accident.
Despite a sex crime on his criminal record, Crossland says that he believes the crash to be an isolated incident for Reagan, citing Reagan's lack of alcohol and substance use.
He has no history of alcohol use, no history of DUIs, no history of any of the things that would make you think that this is just a norm for him.
The victim's family declined to speak after the hearing, but their attorney, Pat Cooney, commented on their behalf.
The two-year anniversary was last Friday, so it's really an emotional case. It's an emotional case for the families, and it's really just a matter of keeping the focus on the young man and his grandfather who passed away in this.
They're not sure what justice looks like in this case, but they're trusting the court to make the right decision.
We have spent a lot of time talking with the state's attorney, and they've really devoted a lot of time and attention to our families, and we know that they will do their best to get justice in this case, which is all we're really looking for.
Reagan's defense team was granted a continuance of the case, and the next court date is set for April 22nd. Attorney Crossland said during that time they'll analyze the accident reconstruction report as well as any other reports that are vital to this case. In Torrington, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
All right, Jamel, thank you. We have new details out of Norwalk tonight where police have shared the name of the man who died in a crash involving one of their vehicles. An unmarked cruiser driven by police detective Andrew Rosinski hit a bicycle being ridden by Manuel Bonilla Gomez just after 6 last night at the intersection of Connecticut and Fairfield Avenues. Now, Detective Rosinski was en route to a crime scene at the time, and police say Gomez ran a red light. Rosinski just couldn't stop in time. The detective is on administrative leave now.
Investigators in Hartford are trying to figure out what sparked a fire in the Upper Albany neighborhood. The fire broke out on Sterling Street just before 2 in the morning. This is just a couple of blocks from St. Francis Hospital. It appears the fire started in a detached garage and spread to a multi-family home. Thankfully, no one was injured. And turning now to our forecast, a nice start to the work week, but it is breezy out there.
And Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here now with the first check of the forecast. Rach.
Yeah, we have another pleasant day tomorrow. We're going to get rid of the wind that we have outside today, but it will be colder, and that will help set the stage for our next winter storm. So right out of the gate, we wanted to tell you that we do have a weather impact alert for Thursday. This is going to make a mess of school systems that will likely either call for at least a delay, if not a total school closure on Thursday, just because we will get some snow, and then on top of it we're likely going to get a bit of an icy mix, although mostly just snow. This will get underway around 7 to 9 a.m. in the morning on Thursday, but it's already winding down as we head through the early to middle part of the afternoon. So it's a pretty fast mover, but again, due to the combination of some snow and a bit of ice on top, I do think it'll make for slippery travel. We're talking about, I think for most of the state, around 2 or 3 inches of snow. We'll give a total range of around 1 to 3, and then again, a transition to a wintry mix. Right now, we've got the wind out there. It's still cranking, gusts around 40 miles an hour in Hartford. These winds are bringing in those cooler temperatures, again, that will help set the stage for that winter event. We're looking at 32 right now in Chester, 30 degrees right now in Waterbury. Then overnight lows will be dipping back into the teens as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. High temperatures will be up around 30 degrees. We're dry all day. And Wednesday night, it won't be until early on Thursday morning that we get that snow to develop. We'll take a closer look at all of that, plus the follow-up storm for the weekend coming up in just a bit.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, the New Haven Friends Center for Children has provided housing for a group of its educators rent-free. Fox 61's Kaylee Collins was there as one housing unit was being furnished today, and she explains how the initiative works.
It's a first-of-its-kind concept here in New Haven where a small group of educators will be housed in this space over here, and a group of volunteers spent the day turning this space into a home. A working party in New Haven to welcome 2 teachers to their new home.
It's a one-time investment for an annualized return.
I'm so excited to the big surprise that are preparing for me.
Eric Gill is the latest educator to receive rent-free housing through the Friends Center for Children's Housing Initiative that first got started back in 2021. The center partnered with the Yale Center for Architecture to build a duplex that offers an overall private living space with a shared kitchen.
Right now I'm living in Waterbury in a house that is full of people. I live with my uncle's family, so I have to commute 50 minutes every day to come here at work.
Now Eric will be within walking distance.
I can use those 2 hours I'm going to have free to other things like go back to college and prepare myself to improve my job here.
This whole idea came from a drive to pay teachers what they're worth.
It was either raise tuition for families or get state and federal subsidies, neither of which are there. So we decided to ask them what their biggest expenses were, and out of our 29 educators, only 1 owned their own home at the time, and rent was their biggest expense.
Not only is that cost cut, the home also comes fully furnished through community donations.
Everything from stocking the fridge to the living room furniture to a bed.
So I'm just really happy to be in this community that values educators.
It was move-in day for 9 educators with the Friends Center for Children here in New Haven, but the hope is to continue to expand that and be able to provide housing to any of the educators with the center who need it moving forward. Reporting in New Haven, Kaylee Collins, Fox 61.
Kaylee, thank you. Well, this morning was an exciting morning for Connecticut history buffs.
That's right. For a few hours today, people got an up-close look at one of the most important documents in our state's history.
Fox 61's Emma Wolfhorst takes us to the Connecticut State Library for more.
This was a monumental moment as people got their last looks at one of Connecticut's most significant legal and political documents.
It was supposed to open to the public at 11, and when the building opened at 10, there was already a line of people.
All this excitement.
We're putting it back in the vault. People want to be able to come out and see it.
For the Royal Charter of 1662.
This is just a really awesome piece of Connecticut history and something that makes us really unique.
The charter was granted to the Connecticut colony by Charles II, King of England, in April 1662. The document, also known as the Connecticut Charter, provided the basis for the state's government for more than 150 years until 1818.
It's part of the struggle of individuals who wanted to be able to rule themselves. They didn't want to be beholden to an arbitrary king or authoritarian figure that was across the ocean. That's all part of the continuum that leads into the American Revolution and the Declaration of Independence.
According to the legend of the Charter Oak, on Halloween night 1687, the document mysteriously disappeared when Charles's successor, James II, sought to revoke Connecticut's charter. He sent his governor general to try and take possession of it at Sanborn's Tavern in Hartford, but James Wadsworth took the charter and hid it in an ancient white oak tree, where it supposedly remained until James II was overthrown.
The legend says there was a lot of debate on whether they were going to give it to him. There's nothing in the written record that says that. I think they already had a plan in place on what they were going to do.
The 363-year-old document was on display Tuesday for the last time, at least for a while.
It was just really cool to hear some of the people who work here give some explanation about how they take care of it and sort of like what it means in Connecticut history.
A high-resolution reproduction of the charter in its charter oak frame will be on permanent display. But for those who got a chance to view the original one more time, it was special.
kind of binds us together as a state and a shared history. So it was definitely a really cool experience to come see it.
There's nothing like seeing the original document. We don't get that thrill with electronic documents. This was government and this was the charter, and we're standing by the charter.
Now, workers here do tell me they plan on bringing the charter back out about 1 to 2 times a year for viewing in the future for special events. Reporting in Hartford, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61.